presidential race for Joe Biden.
My fellow Americans.
This morning, an emboldened China invades Taiwan.
Financial markets are in free fall as 500 regional banks have shuttered their doors.
Border agents were overrun by a surge of 80,000 illegals yesterday evening.
Officials closed the city of San Francisco this morning, citing the escalating crime and fentanyl crisis.
What's going on, everyone? It's Toss with Kenny here today, and we kind of react to this. The RNC responded to Joe Biden's re-election bid. The intro video, I hope you guys found it insightful and valuable, actually. And this is one of the critiques I always had with the RNC, is that it seems like they're always a step behind the Democratic establishment when it comes to putting out their messaging and getting the processes in place to actually be competitive for re-election bids. But this response video, I found it pretty on the head. It hits the nail right on the head that they were able to portray their view of what will happen if Joe Biden gets reelected in 2024. And I share that view. And the purpose of this video will be to see how probable is that outcome to happen if we continue living under Joe Biden right now. It's because we already see it. We're already in a recession, record high inflation in 40 years. In 40 years. Like, imagine that. We have the record amount of inflation in 40 years. That's because of your boy, Joe Biden. What happened to that K-shaped recovery, Joe Biden? I'm still waiting on that. Trump warned you guys already. And this is why I want the Trump-Biden rematch, because I want to see if America has learned. But hey, I digress. I already did my video on that. You guys can find it on my channel. But let's get into the content of this news. Watch. RNC responds to Biden's presidential announcement with AI video depicting bleak future. And we're going to see how close to this future is, because I got other articles to kind of instantiate my view on things. The Republican National Committee responded to Joe Biden's announcement that he would seek a second term with videos painting a bleak image of the future if the incumbent wins in 2024. The video was generated by artificial intelligence. I already showed you guys, and we get the whole context. This is just reiterating it. This is where I got the video from. Biden's is so out of touch that after creating crisis after crisis, he thinks he deserves another 4 years. The RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel said in response to Biden's announcement. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy also took aim at Biden on Tuesday morning, alluding to the ongoing conflict over the debt ceiling. Apparently, Biden doesn't even want to meet people. He doesn't even want to meet Kevin McCarthy to talk about the debt ceiling. I don't understand what's going on here, right? I thought Biden was supposed. And the day Biden came here, he said I was gonna be the great unifier. He hasn't unified anyone. He created more division. He alienated half of the country by calling them extremists. For what? Because they disagree with you on abortion? Because they disagree with you on controversial topics, so-called controversial topics like transgenderism, gender theory? Is this what makes those people extreme? When you guys are the ones coming in here challenging years of traditional sense of what was a man and a woman, and you're calling us extremists. I don't understand. But hey, I digress. I digress, guys. I know Biden might be focused on his political future today, but he should be focused on the future of America. And this is what we're fighting for, the future of America. What will be the future of America? Because end of the day, I don't care about the Democratic Party. I don't care about the Republican Party. I care about you, whoever's watching on the other side of the screen. Because end of the day, like it or not, it's our fault. It's my fault. It's your fault. It's everybody's fault that Biden got elected. Now, I didn't vote for him. And maybe I'm not, but I'm also to blame because I guess I didn't speak out sooner, right? I could have been made this channel, but I kept sitting on. I was like, I think people can see through Biden. People can see through Biden. Regardless if you believe the 2000 rules or not, I don't care. I assumed there was no valid proof that the election was rigged. Sorry. Everything was just speculation. End of the day, Trump lost. I take that responsibility. But my take is, if America was smarter, if America was more politically informed, would Biden still win despite that? Could we run up the score so much that even if they did cheat, it wouldn't have affected the outcome? That's what I'm fighting for. That's why I started this channel. And this is why I want to put this news out there. I want to put my thoughts out there. Because I'm sure a lot of people are thinking the same way. Because I'm an independent. I'm still a regular independent. I'll never consider voting for the Democratic Party. And I'll get into why. Biden has announced that he'll finally come to the table and negotiate a reasonable. Biden should have announced that he will come to the table and negotiate a responsible debt limits increase to avoid the first default in our history. Yeah. Biden has been widely expected to announce the bid despite his first terms. Bleak Biden's already facing a Democratic challenger, which is Robert F. Kennedy. And look, Democrats, if you got any sense, y'all should try to fight for a primary debate, because as of right now, the DNC will not allow anyone, right? And here it is right here. The DNC has declared that it will not sponsor any debates and is entirely behind Joe Biden. That means Joe Biden, as a politician, has no incentive to actually debate any of you guys. If I was a Democratic voter, if I was a registered Democrat, I'll be fighting tooth and nail to say, hey, y'all better sponsor this guy or we ain't going to vote for Joe Biden. But this is the dilemma I'm seeing, is that look at the Republican primaries. Even though Trump has a comfortable lead, we're still hosting primaries. And this is one thing I think the RNC has been doing good, is that they've been creating contrast. Like, hey, look, this is how the Republican parties do things. Sure, Trump is look like the likely favorite, but that can change. We're still giving our other options an opportunity to see if there could be the better candidate than Donald Trump. Now, I don't agree with Donald Trump saying, oh, I'm not going to debate anybody. I think that's a bad move from Donald Trump's part. Because end of the day, 2024, in my view, is the Republicans party's election to lose. Because end of the day, turnout is important, I understand. But there's no one's enthusiastic to go out and vote for Biden. But I still see the enthusiasm to vote for Trump, DeSantis, other people in the Republican Party. Hell, in my view, a carrot can beat Joe Biden in 2024 election. But that depends on turnout, right? And I don't care how well-oiled machine that the Democratic go out to vote efforts and the grassroots movement. Like, any independent can look at this and be like, yo, we don't want this guy. Only 25% of Americans say they want Joe Biden to run for a re-election. Less than half of Democrats said that they wanted Joe Biden to run again. That means majority of the Democratic Party wants someone else. But the Democratic establishment, the DNC, is telling the Democratic voters that they're only allowed to pick Biden. But I don't see no enthusiasm for Joe Biden. It just seems like, hey, DNC say, hey, this is the guy and that's it. Our way or the highway. What kind of party is that? Like I said, politicians are not my leaders. But hey, let's see how likely this future is to come. So, First Republic Bank expected to be seized by the U.S. government. Remember how the video was talking about financial collapse? Here's one of them. Like, this is what, the fourth bank already? What's going on here? All right, and I'm just going to go through this. I'm not really going to give that. I'm just going to give you guys evidence, because this is I think this is like yesterday. All right, now we got GOP leaders demanding Joe Biden to stop plans to punish good credit home buyers. Joe Biden's administration is creating an incentive structure where he could literally set us up for another financial crash in the future if this goes through. That you incentivizing high-risk borrowers to borrow more money, and you're punishing financially responsible home buyers from getting a loan. End of the day, if you got a bad credit score, you got low finances, you're a high-risk borrower. High-risk borrowers tend to get what? Default more on their loans. And you're incentivizing more people who are more likely to default on their loans to get, like, it don't make any sense. It's because all he's caring about is his political future. That's what politicians care about. They care about being in power. And they'll lie, say, and do anything to stay in it. That's why I put the blame on the American people. The American people has to be more politically knowledgeable about this stuff. Know what a politician can realistically do, and know what a politician can't realistically do. At the end of the day, government can't create outcomes for you. It can't. Because if they create outcomes for you, it's at the expense of someone else. The government's main role, in my view, is to be the referee, making sure we all play by the same rules. He can't give you a special call and then he make a non-call for someone else on the other end. That's not a fair system. But to artificially create, I want to give more people of color an opportunity to get a home loan because they usually have bad credit. That's not something tied to them because they're black or because of their minorities, because they just made a different decision. They made decisions that make them a high-risk borrower. And if they change those decisions, they can be a low-risk borrower and they can get a loan. You're causing more long-term pain than you are actually doing. And then Manchin's up in here saying he's going to up the ante and he's going to go and vote with Republicans to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. Let's read about it. Senator Joe Manchin upped the ante in his spat with the Biden administration over the Inflation Reduction Act. Manchin appeared on Sean Hannity on Fox News Monday night. In an interview, the moderate Democrat complained that the Biden administration and Democrats have neglected the commitments to develop new oil and gas projects. He secured in exchange for a vote for the $740 billion Inflation Reduction Act. Joe Biden's administration not keeping promises? Color me surprised. This only validates my worldview that my father always told me. Democrats are only all talk. They'll say what they need to say to get your vote. And I know what I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it in the comment section, but I don't care. I have my reasons. Look at this. You can mental gymnastics. Republicans' version of weak leadership is humble strength. Humble strength got you to where you at today. Because at the end of the day, you can argue with me semantically about interpretations and perception all you want. But you can't argue the results. The results are in. A war started under Biden. Biden squandered a lot of things going on in foreign policies that emboldened our rivals or our enemies into wanting to take further action. Putin felt emboldened to invade Ukraine. Why? Because he perceived Joe Biden as weak. You can make that argument. But you can't. But to sit here and act like, oh, Joe Biden is so strong. He's such a strong leader. No, he's not. People feel like, oh, I could take advantage of the situation. And that's what's happening. America's being taken advantage of. And I wonder if America can see that. But hey, I digress. So Joe Manchin has a problem with him, and he's seen as the most moderate. Like, I think if you ask any independent between Joe Manchin and Biden, who they see as the more moderate Democrat, they'll see Joe Manchin, because Joe Manchin can work with the other side. Joe Manchin is less partisan than Joe Biden. Right. And he's saying that, hey, you guys are not keeping your promises. We agreed on something for my vote, and y'all not holding your end of the bargain. But you expect me to trust the Democratic Party into actually doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah, OK. And then here's the nail in the coffin for me is that John F. Kennedy, he breaks down how the Democrats are rigging the 2024 primaries, essentially. We already know. I'm going to reiterate this point, but this is an important point to say that Democrats don't have a choice. Democrats see themselves as the leader of their party, while in the conservative side, the conservatives are the leaders of the Republican Party, because the Republican Party can put all the candidates they want, but we make noise. Y'all forgot what happened in the session when they was trying to start the new Congress, how Kevin McCarthy had to come repeatedly. The conservative voters was behind the Freedom Caucus when they were doing that. You can't say the same with the Democratic Party. But they want to call the Republican Party the authoritarian party. And I got results. I'm just saying observable reality. Democrats had a chance. AOC and them had a chance to do the same thing. What they do? No, they fell in line because that's how authoritarian that the Democratic Party is. And because the Republican Party has differences of opinion, we can't always agree on the same thing. And you're going to say, look how dysfunctional they are. That's democracy for you. That's like saying America's dysfunctional because the two political parties are always bickering about what is the better solution. That's how you know it's not an authoritarian country. How you know it's not an authoritarian party. And I'm just tired of the narrative games that's been going on in our country, honestly. But hey, what say you, America? Are we going to learn our lesson from 2020? Or are we going to repeat the mistakes and care about flash instead of substance? Because at the end of the day, I agree with you. Most independents don't like Trump, but I'll argue most independents don't like Biden either. And this election will be the most, I guess, less about the candidates and more about the policy. Because I think if it's a Trump-Biden rematch, it's all going to be about policy. All will be about results. And Trump has a good advantage here. I believe Trump has a great chance of beating Joe Biden. I don't care what none of y'all say. Because all Trump got to say is, I told you so. Didn't I predict this in 2020 that he was going to crash the economy? Didn't I warn you guys that if you put Joe Biden in, if you let Joe Biden win the 2020 election, that you'll see the greatest depression in since a long time? And we're going towards that right now. There's been predictors that we could hit a depression. Didn't Trump warn you about that? That's how I choose to follow people. I'm like, okay, he making sense. He made a claim. His claim was validated. Why would I not trust him for 2024? That's how I think as an American. But I want to see how much other Americans see the same pattern. Because at the end of the day, it seems like we vote based on our feelings, based on perception, based on how presidential someone looks. But that's flash. That's nothing. It don't mean anything. That's semantics. we have to look at the results because our country can't afford another misstep, right? And I think Republicans need to up their messaging a little bit more. This was good. Like the intro clip, that's a great start. I think we need to see more of that. The RNC needs to do more of that. But hey, I think I've been wandering. I think I've been talking way too long. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. You agree, disagree? Let me know why. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.